What object represents your relationship, your connection, or your lack of relationship or connection with your mom? What is your actual superpower? What object represents your superpower? What do I mean by that? Well, one of my superpowers is being able to read people, how they're feeling. And so I would put this body language book that I read once in my Essence object box because it gave me some tools for being able to read how people are feeling. So what's a superpower that you have and what object represents it? What's a secret that you have? Something that maybe you haven't told anybody else, or you've only told like one or two people. Write it in terms of an object. And for all of these, especially if it's a person, don't put grandma in a box. Like, put something that reminds you of grandma, something concrete in the box. What's a piece of art that you love, that blows your mind, or a piece of music? What's something that makes you feel safe? What's a challenge that you faced in your life? Some big experience you've been through. Was it a divorce? Did you lose someone? Did you fail at something? Did you have to overcome something? Let's just write down one challenge you faced. And if you're thinking, well, this challenge is too real, or I'd never write about this, put down that challenge anywhere. Put down an object that represents that challenge. Go ahead and go there with yourself. This exercise is just for you. Pause the video at any time if you need to. When you think about that challenge and going through that experience, what resource did you have to draw on in order to make it through that challenge? Now, what do I mean by resource? Well, maybe, let's say you went through a divorce, your parents got divorced, and you had to draw on your adaptability, your ability to, change things up really fast at any moment. Maybe that was a resource that you drew on. Or let's say you went through a period where you had to move, from one school to another, and you had to draw on your creativity. So what represents your creativity? Is it like art pencils? Is it, something else? Try and make the abstract concept concrete. Or maybe it was a person that you drew on, like maybe your grandfather helped you come through it. What object represents that connection? What's a goal or a dream for the future that you have? What's something that you love to do so much that you lose time? It could be an extracurricular activity that's like on your resume or brag sheet. But what object represents your connection to it? Like if it's tennis, maybe don't just write down tennis racket, but like what is it about tennis that you really connect with? If it's a violin or, don't just write down the instrument. Like what is it about that? The reason I'm asking you to do that is because that'll set your connection to the thing apart from everyone else's. And everyone else who might be writing about that thing.
Okay, so I'm hoping that your list is going well. I'm going to stop there, but there's a bit of an introduction to Ethan and all of the different videos of his that you can easily find on YouTube by searching College Essay Guy. And I'm going to go back to our, I am going to go back to our PowerPoint here. There we go. And work from there. So hopefully now you've looked at the essay prompts, thought a little bit about which ones you could answer. You've got this list of objects that would be your essence objects that represent things about you, experiences you've had, relationships that you have with people, or with activities, or with ideas. And so you're starting to have some ideas about what your essay might look like. And hopefully a lot of things are spinning around right now. That spinning is good. It's okay. We'll drag some of these things down into some concrete answers. So in thinking about what makes an amazing essay, and one of the last things that Ethan said there was, making your essay stand out from all the other people who are writing about violins or basketball or video games, is the specificity, right? Dialing down to what your relationship with that thing is and making it your story. So the 4 qualities here of an amazing essay. You're going to make your story unusual, and it's either unusual in content, or it's unusual in structure, or it's both. On your handout, you have an outline of a narrative structure of an essay, which is like the narrative structure of most movies you've seen. You also have an explanation of a montage. Montages also come often at the beginning of movies, or like in the middle of a rom-com, right? Where boy meets girl, and then they go on like 17 dates over 2 months, and it all happens in 2 minutes with a lot of music behind it, right? That's a montage. So maybe your essay is in part a montage, and your job at the end is to bring those individual pieces together. And that's sometimes very useful if you have a long and complicated story. Has to be about you. How do you put it together? You put those pictures, and then you draw them together at the end. I have had students write letters as their, unusual structure. And letters, sometimes they write letters to famous people, which is interesting. I had an amazing college admissions essay. A girl wrote a letter to her then 6-year-old sister on the event of her 18th birthday. So what she wanted to tell her sister about their life together when her sister turned 18, because there was a lot of backstory there. But that was sort of a really unusual and exciting way to tell something. And there's got to be a wow moment, right? As I said earlier, colleges want to see your personal growth, your realization and reflection on that personal growth. At the end of your essay, you're going to be smarter, stronger, wiser in some way. So that's got to be there. The ending is both surprising and inevitable. The ending is always a happy ending because you are stronger, smarter, wiser, better. The way you got there might be terrible. It might be tragic. And often students who have had the tragic experience of losing a family member, that's a tragic path. But in the end, what are they taking away from it then? And then the ending makes the reader do a little bit of work, right? We don't want to be super obvious about it. We'll talk about telling. We're showing. We're showing for sure. So now I want you to do a little bit of brainstorming of structure. And this is where, to me, it's very challenging to be virtual. I want to be right there and watch you write what you're writing. But here we are. So I want you to consider one of your chosen prompts, right? The ones that you thought about first. And then I want you to look at your essence objects. And maybe even your list of essence objects all of a sudden made you realize that you could answer one of these other prompts that you didn't even consider before, but now you got to thinking about that. Oh, absolutely. Step through that door and make notes on that prompt instead. So let's take just a couple minutes. Again, 2.5, 3 minutes, and create an outline or a progression of how your essay is going to go. How are you going to tell that story? Like, are you going to jump into the middle, right? All of a sudden the world went blank and all I could see were flashing lights in front of me. Well, that makes me want to read more of the essay, right? Can it not start in the middle? Does it start at the end? Does it start at the beginning? Sometimes things have to start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. So I'm going to set my little timer here. Let's take maybe 2.5 minutes. Think about, if you're making an outline of the essay that you're going to write, the story that you're going to tell about you, what's it going to look like? All right, if you're still brainstorming, finishing up, that's okay. There's going to be a lot more brainstorming in your future for these essays for sure. But I don't want to miss out on one of the most difficult things that students find about essays, which is opening lines, right? Ask anyone, ask any student, ask any adult, what is the hardest thing to write when you're writing an essay of any kind? It's the first sentence, for sure. So the challenge is not only to write a first sentence that is interesting, you've got to get your reader to read on to the next thing. Perhaps you want them to think in their minds at the end of it, #relatable, something, but you want to get them to want to read. And there are so many different options depending on what you want to write about. So I have some possible opening lines here. And a lot of my students at Montverde Academy are international students. We're a boarding school and a day school. And so they've traveled a long way to come to school. And so some of these are really their experiences, The first one, hour 15, still on the plane. 3 movies, 2 naps, 1 crying baby. Will we ever arrive? Now, I broke a few rules there, right? Of those 3 sentences, only 1 is really a sentence. That's okay. You have that poetic license. This is creative nonfiction that you're writing. So take that license. You'll also see that in sentence number 2, there's a list. Our brains love lists. People love patterns. It's the way we're wired. 3 movies, 2 naps, 1 crying baby. Good thing. Oh, thank God there was only 1 crying baby, but I really want to get there. The second one, there are 3 pictures above my desk. You can't see any of them. Okay, don't you have to read the next sentence? Yes. And you want to know, why can't I see them? Are the pictures really not there? Is the person writing this essay slightly unstable? No, probably not. Is the person mysterious and private? Yes, for sure. But we want to keep reading. Okay, these next 2, I want to ask you some questions about them, about what you learn from these next 2. So the third one down says, green grass, white goal, red jersey. The colors of my country and my passion flow together. All right, so what are, either in the chat, which actually I don't think I haven't figured out how I can see that. So unmuting would be better. So unmute and tell me what's the passion and what's the country in this first sentence. Oh, no takers?
Well, it's definitely not Florida, I'll say that, because the grass here is not green.
Well, we've gotten enough rain lately that maybe it is, Logan. But yes, so it's definitely not Florida because it says the colors of my country and it says green, white, and red. So what are our options there?
You have a chat.
Mexico?
Yay. Yes, Mexico is a possibility. Good. All right, so what's the passion? Green grass, white goal, red jersey.
Ariana has an answer.
Oh, she
On the
does?
chat.
Wow, oh, there it is.
At the top, maybe.
Thank you. Oh, but I still can't see it. All right, what did
She said soccer in Italy.
Oh, yes. Go, girl. Very nice. Yes, Mexico and Italy are our options, right? But soccer. Green grass, white goal, passion. Yes, we have a lot of soccer players. All right, good job, Ariana. Nice job, Logan. All right, how about this next one? I am going to ask you for what kind of literary term it is, and then I'm going to ask you what happened. Squeak, squeak, swish. Squeak, squeak, swish. Squeak, squeak, snap. What's the literary term and what happened? Oh, come on. It's your favorite one to say because it has 1,000 vowels.
Is it automatopoeia?
Chantal, yes. Good job. Woo-hoo. Okay, so Chantal, do you know what happened? What's this about?
I'm trying to think. To me, it sounds like someone was mopping and then, I don't know, they broke something, but I'm not sure yet, I guess.
She's about halfway there, right? She's about halfway there. There's something that broke, right? We've got snap. What's the squeak, squeak, swish? You want a hint? Apparently, the rest of the season will be played in Orlando at ESPN Wild World of Sport. Oh, come on.
Is it basketball?
It is. Good job. Yes. And what happened? Like, what's this? What broke?
A bone?
Yes. Look at that now. Onomatopoeia, right? Squeak, squeak, swish, the ball goes in the basket. Squeak, squeak, swish, the ball goes in the basket. Squeak, squeak, snap. This person is going to talk about adversity, right? A basketball injury, overcoming that adversity. What does it look like? Did they go back in the game? What does the rest of life look like? What did they learn from that horrible moment, right? That wasn't the plan. But what a great way to open an essay. You know what's going to happen, you know what happened, but you still want to know, what are the details? Oh my gosh, how did you deal with that, right? That's the reader response. You want a reader to get engaged with what you're writing, to then tell them your story, and the whole time then they are engaging with you and realizing that you are in fact the perfect fit for their university and they should admit you. That's the goal. It's a sales pitch, man. It's a sales pitch. All right, I am well aware that I'm out of time because I love doing this and I could talk forever about college admissions essays. So I'm very much hoping, I'm very much hoping that this helped you, especially rising juniors and seniors, that this helped you get started a little bit, that you have some resources now in the handout. You can rewatch this, you can check out College Essay Guy, and once you have some things written, I have a self-editing checklist here that you'll be able to access on our Thrive YouTube channel, and you can even have this PowerPoint if you'd like, and just to get you to that place of when you're working. And here's some depth charging. We did this in creative writing. It works everywhere, guys. It works everywhere. And this is it. The last thing I'll say about.
Why don't we slow it down in case if they want to snap a picture of the screens, since we may not have it on YouTube for a month or so.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to miss it, but if they want to take a picture of the.
Totally.
Yeah. Just give everybody a minute. You can give us a thumbs up, you guys, when you've had a chance.
And I did a ton of talking today, which I like to talk, but I would rather look at what you wrote and have you talk as well. So I am sorry, not sorry, but sorry that I did all the talking and you didn't get to do too much. Are we ready to move to the next?
Yeah, I want you.
And then this is our depth charging that it's the same sentences that I worked with in creative writing, but definitely one of the things, once you get your story down, then you really want to polish it and make it easy to read and engaging and show your level of intellect and storytelling. Really bring that reader along with you on the ride. All right.
Awesome.
And this is the last thing, what do you bring to the table that's meaningful? How do your core values connect with the university? And, how will attending this college help you pursue your dreams with passion? I will definitely tell you, colleges in general, like overall, they want students who are pursuing a passion, who have locked in kind of to something and have, taken that down a path. Maybe you don't know what you want to study, and that is okay. Maybe the passion that you locked into is volunteering, so you volunteered in all these different ways. Or maybe the passion that you locked into was writing, and you've written all of these different things. Or, you're a passionate leader. Maybe you don't know what you want to lead yet, but you're a passionate leader. So that is what they want to see, and that's those strengths need to come through in your essay as well.
All of Thrive's funding for programs comes from private donations, corporate sponsorship, and grants. Anyone that's interested in supporting our programs can find out more on our website, in addition to volunteering as an instructor for an upcoming event. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook for the latest updates on Thrive's agenda. For more information about any of the volunteer opportunities that were discussed today, go to thriveclaremont.org.